everybody. So we're in September. How you doing so far? I'm going to just see what comes up today. Just what is the most meaningful message I could share with all of you, with myself, that can empower our lives. Maybe it's about the human world present day. Maybe it's exploring other dimensional realities. Maybe it's about purgatory and hell. Maybe it's about heaven. I don't know. But I brought my box, and inside this box there are tarot cards. So I'm having fun just picking a card for us and then seeing if it plays a role in the message and just learning some more things about tarot with all of you. I just posted a video on Temperance, and I had picked the Temperance tarot card, and I'm not really a big fan of that word. It's kind of an old, an old word that I had translated much more simply than it turned out to be. It's really about good and evil. It's about the evil inside yourself or your evil decisions, and you need to bring those evil decisions into the reconciliation of light so that you can feel better about yourself because you're living with integrity and nobility of personality. Like, Temperance is hardcore. It's not just about balance, it's about soul balance. And so I thought, let's see what this Hermetic Tarot deck has to share with us. And maybe there's a new card that we can discover some new things about it based upon the energies of September, based upon just anything God consciousness would like to share with us. By the way, I'm doing Zodiac energy readings again. I posted a little note out there in the community board. I don't know how many of you saw it, but go to YouTube, search Zodiac energy readings, and then you can check out what my experience was for your Zodiac sign for September. Could be some meaningful information there for you. Also, I'm back to sharing client sessions. I'm doing it on my Abbey Psychic Services YouTube channel. Just feels a little more organized this way. So you guys need to check out those places. You need to subscribe. You need to like these videos. If you find them valuable, like the videos. Tell YouTube that you think I'm awesome. And that might inspire other people to have access to my videos too. And maybe I can help other people through your actions. Like, subscribe, notification bell. That tells YouTube that I'm worth it. All right, should we see what these tarot cards have to say? Okay, yeah, so I'm in this zone with shuffling, and what I like to do is, and I see other, tarot readers kind of like shuffle until a card pops out, and I before I was just kind of shuffle until I felt like stopping, then I pick a card, but I kind of like this shuffle concept, and you just see what kind of random cards just kind of pull themselves out of the deck. Here we go. We have 3 cards, you guys. If I have to do 3 cards, that's going to be a lot for me. Wait a second. Do you know what we've been doing lately? I've been doing this, but I've been sharing with you guys too. I pick 3 doors, and then we go into each one of the doors and see what is on the other side. Maybe God has something in store for us today that has to do with 3 doors, and that's why I have 3 cards. It's like we can connect the dots however we want, but I like how these dots are connecting. You know what I mean? All right, so let's do it that way. Okay, so we got September. God, what do you want to tell us? By the way, I've been noticing that, in the last week or so, I feel like the word family, I feel like Mother God, Father God, like I get to connecting with God, and I was raised Catholic, raised Christian, so God has always been the old man in the sky. And because I built that relationship in that way, it's just kind of my go-to. It's like part of my innocent upbringing. And so I have to remind myself there's a Mother God too. So I like to see what Mother God is like and heal any relationship that I might, any kind of imbalance in my relationship with the concept of Mother God, because it didn't exist for me. I like to explore what that looks like inside myself. So God, Father God, Mother God, the word family, relationships are an important part of our life and our life lessons. So I feel like maybe there's something to this for September as a message. I have so many flipping things to tell you guys. Maybe I'll let the cards speak. My guys are saying, okay, what else is something? Okay, I did a really cool reading, and I feel like the name of this Ascended Master was Lao Tse. I was saying it like this because I had to search YouTube to find out how to pronounce it. And the Chinese, and it sounded like Lao Che. Lao Che. So I just kept repeating that in my head so I pronounce it right. But it was an Lao space TSE. And I guess maybe it's the same guy, different spelling, but maybe they're separate. Anyway, super wonderful to connect with. And he was actually a lot more structured about the structure and how a strong structure, everything that we build needs a strong structure. And so even our identity, how do we build a strong identity? And, you know, the structure of our identity has to be strong, because if it's broken, then what are we? You know what I mean? And I really liked that was a grounded idea, and that what he said was that we are all genuine people. If you were to look at people in your life, would you say they're genuine? Maybe they're lying to themselves. Maybe they're manipulative. You know, maybe they aren't really being themselves. They're just behaving. You know, this is all judgmental stuff. And we use judgmental ways in order to improve other people's lives, improve our own lives. So it's kind of a tool, you know. But he was saying to take judgment out of the picture and just see everybody as genuine people. So if they're genuine people, then they are exactly as they are. And you, your whole life, have always been a genuine person. So any time where you felt shame or guilt, you don't have to, because you've always been genuine to who you are. And if you take out all the layers and just make it a simple meaning that it is what it is, like you are a genuine person, it will empower you. It even goes to show, like, anybody who's hurt you in your life, if they were genuinely, they're genuine people, and we just call them genuine people, and we don't have to really forgive them for being themselves. We don't even have to forgive ourselves for accepting those genuine people in our lives that hurt us. If they're genuine people and we're genuine people and the whole world is full of genuine people, it changes the whole scope of how you see literally everything, and it takes judgment out of the equation. It just is a new lens for looking at things. It even takes you off the hook for feeling guilt and shame. I found that it takes a lot of things off the hook. And if you're trying to reach a reset button in your life, just see the past is full of a genuine exchange. Everything that's ever happened in your life was a completely genuine experience. And now today, what do you want to do with your life? You know what I mean? What do you really want to do with your life? Like, what do you really want to do with your life? If I were to say what I, Abby, really want to do, something that genuinely comes to me, is I want to build balance. Temperance? It doesn't feel like temperance to me, because it's not about the good or the evil. It's not like the soul thing. It's more like a practical thing. It's like being in a rhythm and a routine. I have to be the consistency in my life. So if my life is behaving inconsistently, if I behave consistently, there's something there's something honorable or I find intriguing about that concept. Something I've been thinking about is I want to feel there's more groundedness in my life. I want to be a more consistent person for myself in my life. Like, I want to take it to a new level. You know, some of the things I've been thinking about is that is an honest thing that I'm curious about. It's an honest thing that I'm exploring. It's an honest thing that I'm thinking about. Most people would say, oh, you know, what do I want to do with my life? I want to find my purpose, probably. I mean, that's something a lot of people talk about, is how do I find my purpose? Well, if you know your genuine self and that you are a genuine person, this is genuinely who you are, you got to ask yourself, what is it about this genuine person that you are that has a gift to share with the world? And based upon your genuine self, what can you give of yourself to others to brighten and bring more rainbows into this world? You know what I mean? You are yourself a rainbow. So open up your secret spaces and let those rainbows out to impact other people's lives. I mean, that's literally our purpose, is to make it a better world. I mean, you can't really deny that. Like, everybody came here to make it a better world. So how are you going to make it a better world? That's like truly your purpose. That's like genuinely your purpose, you know, and you're a genuine person. I just feel like it's a good way to create a fresh new slate. Find out what you want to do with your life now. You know what I mean? Okay, so I talked, you know. I want to get down to the nitty gritty, not talk so much, but I think there's value to that message, right? Okay, so I love these cards. Okay, this is the deck. It's the Hermetic Tarot. It's symbolic. It's black and white. It's got kind of an old-timey feel to it. That's what attracted me to it. So this first card is the Princess of Swords. That's her. She's naked. It's an X-rated card, sorry. There she is. Is that snakes in there? I didn't get a good look at it yet. Yeah, she has some like serpents in her hair. There's a woman above and then there's a woman below. And it's the Princess of Swords. She's holding a big sword. And what's written on the bottom, it says Princess of the Rushing Winds. Princess of the Rushing Winds. Man. How cool, how weird and interesting. What a statement, okay? So we have Princess of Swords is door number one. Number one is Princess of Swords. Princess of the Rushing Winds. That's so interesting, okay? Let me get the lighting right. Okay, intriguing. All right, so we got that one. Put that there. Okay, so the next one. Number two, and those of you who know tarot are going to know meanings before I ever will, but we have King of Cups, Prince of the Chariot of Waters, Prince of the Chariot of Waters. So we have Princess of the Rushing Winds, and then we have a Prince of the Chariot of Waters. Oh my gosh, King of Cups. All right, and there's some snakes in this one too. That's what the picture looks like. Like a cup. It looks like he has a big flower in one hand. Looks like a bird up there. A big bird underneath. Like maybe what is that bird? It definitely has talons. So it would be like a bird of, it would be like an eagle or, no, it's got a neck kind of like a swan to me, but. All right, so we've got that one. And then we have Princess of Cups. Princess of the Palace of the Floods. Oh man, here we go. I've actually picked this one before, so it's kind of exciting to get to share it with you guys and see what comes up about it. Okay. All right, here. I'm actually gonna have to pause this and I'll be right back, you guys. All right, I'm back. I actually organized them in the book. So I'm going to read just the key words and then we're going to start, okay? So the Princess of Swords, the key words are wisdom, strength, acuteness, insight, vigilance, subtleness in material things, grace, dexterity. So I'm just going to go straight into the door and see what it's like in there, okay? And then we're going to do the next one. Life-changing message for September here. Mother, Father, God, the beautiful human race and all its interdimensions and external dimensions. And on and on and on. Princess of Swords, doorway. All right, when I try to find this door, my eyes aren't two, they become like hundreds of eyeballs. And they're kind of, I don't know, it's almost like a dish with squishy eyeballs in it and somebody's kind of putting them all in their hand and moving them around. I feel like I have many eyeballs, but they're kind of squished around and I feel everything's blurry, okay? It's all blurry. So I'm going to have to use a different set of senses. I can't use my eyes to see. I'm going to have to use other senses. So think about that in your own life. Your eyes think they see things, but perhaps you need to work with some other senses in order to find the path, okay? So when I close all my eyes, I go into a dark, silent space. And everything becomes quiet around me and I find the door inside myself. And it freaks me out a little bit. For some reason, I don't like the Princess of Swords door. I don't like it and it's in my heart and it does not make me feel comfortable. So I'm seeing through I'm like a bigger version of myself watching a smaller version of myself going into the heart of myself. And when the doors opened, there's this blast of blinding light that comes through. And I'm really uncomfortable about this light and what it's revealing. Because at first the light is too bright and it blinds me. But really the light is helping to reveal something, and it's time for me to see this something. And I can't see it yet because I'm blinded by this light. It has to do with matters of the heart. I find this card is challenging me, this Princess of Swords, because I think, well, what if I try to put this card, this door, now what if I put it in my throat chakra or my emotional gut or my mind or somewhere else? Everywhere I put it makes me uncomfortable. So instead of fearing the challenge, I step up to the challenge. I say, bring it. I know I'm uncomfortable. I can honestly admit that. And I want to grow. The only way to grow is to be vulnerable. And I like growing. Even if I don't like feeling vulnerable, I do like the outcome. When I face challenges, I really like what happens next. And only when I face the challenge, I find out what happens. Can I meet the next challenge and find out what happens after that? It's like I get to live in my own suspenseful story, you know? But my guides say, no, the card will remain as a door of your heart, and we're talking about matters of the heart here. Starting to realize that it wasn't light coming from the door, but it was almost like it was of my own light that was returning to me. And it was a decision somewhere that I had made that I was better off without that light at this time. I was having to face that time, that memory. You know, whatever it is, I don't know, but I'm literally opening the door to bringing myself back to myself. And that's what this Princess of Swords is talking to us about. Parts of our souls returning to us that are very bright. And we had to send them away, or we had to box them up. We had to do something because perhaps we were broken down by society, broken down by our jobs, broken down because our dreams didn't come true, and then broken down by someone we believed that turned out to be not what we thought. You know, we lose parts of ourselves when these things happen, but really it's kind of like a node. You know, it's just like a point in time where we become something new, and then we grow through that change. Then we find other parts of light within ourselves, and then we gain more of ourself as time continues. These things are blessings. These moments are blessings. So my guides are saying it's not really that kind of challenge. It's only intimidating because perhaps you felt shame or guilt at one time when you had to close yourself off from yourself. But at that time, you're making a genuine good decision, because if you're being genuine, you're going to be good, right? Even if you're genuinely bad, there's something nice about the word being genuine is a nice word. So we're genuinely doing the right things. And in genuine divine time, new things happen. All right, so I'm going to stay in this energy here for a moment. I'm still a really big person looking at myself, a medium-sized person, which a much smaller person in my own heart with the door open, and then a person of light coming into a person of, I guess, lesser light or shadow. It's healing some kind of shame or guilt. You're regaining a sense of one's own light. And then I see this little person of light and new harmony. is looking at the medium-sized person and the large person and saying, we're all one. Why are we separated? Why do some have to be big macro versions and some small micro versions? Why can't we all be equal versions of each other? The macro version is slower. It's not as, I guess, its brain is not very smart for some reason. It's just like a big dummy. The middle-sized version is really trying to uphold some kind of finesse or intrigue, some type of good caliber. And the small person is, I guess, weak to these other two, must succumb to the will of the universe. Ends up being the one trying to clean up the mess or trying to collect things, trying to be an answer or a voice of reason, voice of solution, voice of support. But the big dummy doesn't always know how to translate what the little person is saying. And the person that's trying to uphold some sort of a finesse, a good caliber, is really full of imagination and lacking reality. And the smallest person is the one that speaks the most truth. It's like the tears of society. Is it really so hard to hear that little voice inside that speaks the truth? Are we just a big dummy, unable to really hear it, and putting all of our imagination into this appearance instead of what is genuine coming from our heart? I feel like the Princess of Swords is saying this. And there's something of, okay, she's showing me a picture and it's a beautiful painting, actually. And she's showing me another scene, it's a beautiful garden. And she's showing me another scene, it's like a bathhouse that was made very luxurious and absolutely beautiful. And she shows me a dirty, like, hobo off the street, alcoholic, drug addict, gross. Walks into this beautiful, divine bathhouse. And now the middle class folks are going to have to share with this gross hobo. And now these really high upper elites are going to have to share with, these middle class folks. And oh God, who's this hobo in here? Ugh. But she says that the bathhouse is for everybody. Because everybody needs to be cleaned. Everybody needs to be cleaned. And that to be genuinely cleaned is not an imaginary thing. It's actually a real, genuine thing. It is a good thing. And when we are all clean, we enjoy the company of each other. Naturally, we do. And we don't think less of anyone. It's almost like money at some point. Those who have a lot of money are much cleaner than those who have average amount of money, versus those who have no money at all are the dirtiest of our society, the filthiest people of our society. I feel that this is making me sad, and like the water of the bathhouse are tears that Mother God cries for her children. Then how does she clean her children? And her children do not know how to get along. She's made this bathhouse for all of us, and we are all worthy in the bathhouse. That's what the Princess of Swords is saying. Interesting. She is the princess of the rushing winds. wisdom, strength, acuteness, insight, vigilance, subtleness in material things, grace, and dexterity is the meaning of this card. That really impacted me. I'm really grateful for that. All right, the next door, the next tarot card here we have is the King of Cups, Prince of the Chariot of Waters. It also says airy part of water, the airy part of water. The King of Cups is the Prince of the Chariot of Waters, the airy part of water. The meaning is subtle, violent, crafty, artistic, fierce nature with calm exterior, powerful. I feel inspired to read the reversed meaning as merciless, intensely evil, artistic temperament, shifty in dealings. I just kept him upright, so I don't know if it was upside down or not. I don't know why this card makes me feel strange inside. Because it's so beautiful. The Prince of the Chariot of Waters, the airy part of water is so beautiful, but there's something here of maybe not so beautiful. Subtle, violent, crafty, artistic, fierce nature with calm exterior, powerful. I like these cards because there's something unusual about them, something unusual about the way they look and the way they express a meaning. King of Cups. Shall we see what's behind door number 2? Okay. Just want to get another good look at this guy. What it looks like. Okay, here we go. Oh, so I'm already through the door, and I don't really know what to make of this right now. I seem to be in a very small maze. Literally just a few walls, a couple doors. And I find myself in the middle quite easily. I find myself moving through doors, going around the outer edge, and then finding myself in the middle again. There seems to be a man that's huffing and puffing through here. But he's just sort of silent about it. Like, maybe I can feel some breathing, like heavier breathing, just exhaling some frustration. Inhaling, but then exhaling frustration. But he's hard to reach. Like, when I go through this maze, I should be able to run into him, but I'm never able to run into him. And I'm not quite sure why I can't ever run into him. And my guides are like, are you sure you want to? I say, well, I think he must know I'm here. And maybe he's breathing like that to get my attention. Maybe he wants to meet me. Maybe we're just not syncing up here time-wise. Is he trying to find me, or is he trying to get away from me? And he can't hide, although he's doing a good job thus far. I can tell this is going to, I guess you could say this would be a mean thing to do, but I could just tell vibrationally. I literally stop him from moving. I target him. I see where you are. I can hear you. Bam, stopping you. And I'm going to go see you now. So I'm going to be in his bubble, in his space. It's really odd. It's almost like he was scalded by really hot water. Scalded. His skin is completely burnt red. And it seems like scalded from hot water. I even see a lobster thrown in hot boiling water and screaming. And he can't find the ability to, it's almost like he's pacing in disbelief. He's sudden surprise, inability to contemplate or comprehend, almost like he's trying to walk away from the pain or pretend like it's not there. I stop him so he can feel the pain. This is not going to be very nice. And he starts to scream like a lobster in boiling water. I think they say the lobster doesn't scream, but what you hear is the air escaping its body. Something like this, like the meat in the shell. I don't know if that's true, but it keeps seeing a lobster and is screaming and in the boiling water, and I hear him screaming. Because I'm slowing him down and I'm forcing him to stop hiding, stop running away, and be present with what hurts you the most. And he feels branded, like something really affected him, and it even changed the very nature of his skin. It branded his whole body. His skin is red. He's in pain. He's crying because this cannot be fixed. Nothing can be fixed, he says. We cannot fix this. And I don't want to live with this, and I cannot fix this. And I don't want to live with this, and I cannot fix this. He says that I don't want to live with this. What I just went through, what I just saw, what I just endured. I don't want to live with this. And I can't fix this. I can't fix it. I can't make it go away. I can't stop that this ever had happened. I can't negate this from my memories or my being or my skin. I had to live with it, and I can't live with it. I'm not going to live with it. It's like complete refusal of acceptance of this event of life. This is the next very intimidating thing, but I am supposed to bring him to the center of the maze. And it's a big round circular space. And this is even more horrifying because something about the center of the maze is full of, again, light. And the light is burning. It's actually burning the flesh away from his very bones. It's really gruesome to look at. But I tell him to stay with the pain. Seems almost absurd to say that, but don't run away from this pain. Be grateful for this pain. You need this pain. You know what? It's actually affecting his ego. It isn't actually hurting anything. It's simply affecting his ego. The pain is in his ego. And his ego is screaming and saying it's everywhere but here. The ego is like, perfect, hello. Ego doesn't make any wrong decisions. That's why you have to always be open to another way of doing things, another way of seeing things without ever feeling offended by it. That way it's like a way around your ego kind of growing into a very strong and unbreakable tree. It doesn't want to change. It doesn't want to see itself differently. It doesn't want to say it was ever wrong. It wants to make excuses and then put the blame into you, and then for you to receive the blame because it really was you. It lives in a fantasy at times, creates a total fantasy world. You start to live in the fantasy, don't even realize you're living in it. It's all ego. And I see this King of Cups. His ego must be illuminated to the truth. And the ego, instead of letting the truth in, is screaming and saying, I'm not taking a step further. I'm in pain. I can't even cope with it. I can't mentally, emotionally, physically cope with it on the soul level. It's killing me. It's destroying me. Look at what it's doing to me. And it's just ego resisting. It's an ego resistance. I mean, that's literally like the morning star light is illuminating. Is it Lucifer we don't like, or is it the truth that we don't like? A lot of people don't like hearing the truth because it's going to feel like the light is burning the flesh right off your bones. But it was just the truth, and the truth was a humble and good thing. It was the only thing that was real. It was everything else that wasn't, that you wanted it to be that way. It wasn't that way. This is setting you free. I feel the King of Cups has another vantage point, because I feel he's not necessarily this man burnt alive by his own ego, resisting the truth, resisting growth, evolution. It's a much wiser man that watches, observes, wants to set an example, even be okay using himself as an example for others. And he's showing us that the maze is simple. It's not as complicated as we think. And in the center is ourselves. And when we let the light in to burn away our illusions, yes, it can hurt, but it will rebirth us. We'll be reborn. We'll have pride in who we are. We'll be grateful for it in the long run. I put this higher mind, I put it in the center of the circle. And we have like a dead man, basically. He literally let himself be burned alive instead of facing the truth. He'd rather die than change. He'd rather die. It's like, that's a very sad situation right there. All you had to do was embrace the challenge and let yourself grow and enjoy the adventure. And yeah, it's uncomfortable. Enjoy the discomfort. This is what makes it an interesting and suspenseful story. This is what makes life worth living, even when it's so painful and confusing. But he died. He'd rather die. And so I just see a large, like, cosmic hand just kind of brush him off through the scene. And now we have the higher mind is now standing in the center of the maze, which is quite simple, really. It's easy to find your way around in here. He represents being, in a way, glorious. He kind of looks like a Zeus figure. I say, you know what? I'm thinking about water and the airy side of water. So it's H2O. So hydrogen, oxygen. So you have to share with another component. And that's what creates a gift. When you come together, you work together, create balance, you create a gift. Just thinking about this, what this would mean in some other ways. I feel like he represents ego, but I guess this one is a little more accepting of me. Like, I look at it and I say, you're glowing with a holiness, with a Zeus level caliber, but there's kind of still a lack. Like, Zeus as a god is not a perfect god. And so to see the King of Cups representing a god figure like Zeus is like, yeah, you've granted the gifts, you have the god level gifts, but you're just as corrupt as any human. What really makes you so much bigger and so much better than the rest of us? What gives you the right? It's odd. It's like, what gives you the right to control the world? What made you freaking Zeus? I just find myself disappointed in what should be, I guess you could call it the savior of humanity, or God consciousness, illuminating us all with something more. But I feel like it's like a figurehead. It's just It just looks like it's holier than thou, but it's really just a Halloween costume that glows. And I start to see we go through all these changes and we face all these transforming selves because we are becoming reborn as our own Christ consciousness. I'm starting to understand the King of Cups is wiser than we know. It's almost like we could translate him as being a representation of the problem or what's wrong, but he's actually guiding us to what's right. And when I speak about Zeus like this, and I speak about his reflection as like this, he's got this chalice, this golden cup of Christ or something. He's glowing with light, and he's got all the white hair and this white garment, and he's so pure. But you look at him and you see a Zeus figure. You see a disappointing God, to be honest. I still feel that, believe it or not, he's a step up from the man that was running away, that decided to die before he would ever grow. But then when he disappears, I find myself. Like, again, it kind of reminds me of the first door with the Princess of Swords. And we have this big dummy, and then we have this, like, this middleman of the imagination, and trying to express this caliber, right? But then we have the little voice that is actually doing the work and saying all the right things, and who's listening to who here, you know, and entering into this bathhouse of purification. We're all welcome. We're all children of the Mother of God, right? It's a Mother God. And here we have the same kind of changes going on. It's a transformation and a purification. It's an ascension, really. If you already know that pain's going to be on the other side of the door of your life, I mean, being human, you already chose a painful life. Every human being is going to live a painful life, one way or another. It's going to hurt. So when you know it's going to hurt, then why avoid the inevitable, you know? Why not just say, you know what, today might hurt, might actually have some good parts, and I'm going to appreciate it all. Even if I'm bawling my eyes out and I'm cursing God, I'm going to let myself just unfold and unravel in this strangeness. But I'm not going to say that I don't want it to hurt, because then I'm not really living. I just want to be a strange mannequin that just poses for a photo but never really lives, never really thinks, and never really has value other than to just be a statue. So let's see what the next card has to say. This is a lot, you guys. Dang. 3 cards is a lot. All right, we have Princess of Cups. I got a lot of royalty going on here. 2 cups and a sword. This is door number 3. Princess of the Palace of the Floods. It's the earthy part of waters, what this says. Sweetness, poetry, gentleness, reflective, kind, dreamy. Kind, dreamy imagination. Interesting. So it's a card looks like. Can you see it? It's kind of reflecting light and blurry. All right. This is the 3rd door. Princess of the Palace of the Floods. The earthy part of water. Earthy part of water. Here I feel something is affecting my mind in a way that I'm incoherent. I don't know if there was a loud sound and there's a ringing in my ear, but I'm disoriented. It's almost like being a drunk person trying to walk straight, but take out the drunk effect. You're just having a hard time walking straight, and it's a literal acknowledgement that something's not right and I'm incoherent. And there also seems to be a very loud sound about it, but there's no sound at all. Like a pulsing sensation that's disorienting my brain. I'm even closing my eyes really tight and I don't feel good, and I'm trying really hard to keep walking. And the question is, well, why do you keep walking? Why don't you just give in? Why don't you just stop walking? Why don't you acknowledge this is difficult and I can just crumple to the ground now? And the voice that responds says, I'm trying to get out of this. I'm trying to survive this. If I crumple to the ground, I've given up and this is overcoming me. It says that it would be like standing in front of a giant snake that's going to eat you whole. You're just going to stand there and get eaten whole, or are you going to try to get out of this? You're going to try to survive it. But instead of a big giant snake, it's a sound, it's a pulsing, it's disorienting the mind. And I'm shown that everything has a beginning and an end. And this time of being disoriented is going to find its way to a conclusion or a completion. Because we sustained it. We sustained ourselves through this difficult time. And we did survive. We survived the time of this pulsing. Like the pulsing could have lived forever, but it had a time as well. And so we outlived that pulsing. We outlived that challenge. The challenge then disappears and we remain standing. Not because we crumpled to the ground and gave up. We let it overcome us. We let it swallow us whole. But we chose to stand up and say, no, you don't have me. I'm not giving anything to you. And I'm going to try to live my life still. I'm going to keep trying to walk. I'm going to survive you. I'm going to outlive you. It's like a problem that remains that you find in time. You've outgrown it. It disappears. You can't really say how in time it all happened, or maybe you can pinpoint that you lived with this situation for this many years and then you don't live with it anymore. You survived it. I see there's triumph and a trophy. I see that this card is merging with the King of Cups and we're in the center of the maze. And we overcame ourselves. We overcame our own mind. We overcame our ego. We overcame the perceived pain and suffering. We overcame the illusions. I see that there are many gods and goddesses so proud of us for our achievements, are applauding us in our hard work here on earth. And I see it's interesting because once you climb the ladder of this kind of event, you reach that plateau and say, wow, I did it. When you walk into the bathhouse of Mother God, you don't look at who has what, who has nothing, who has something, and who has some average means. You just enjoy being around people. You enjoy being around people of any and all kinds. And you understand people and why they are the way they are, you could say. Why that is the genuine presence they chose to express. You just let people be people. That you enjoy this bathhouse with more clarity, actually. Because you've gained clarity of oneself and you gained the perseverance. You chose the perseverance. You took the path of perseverance. You persevered. It was hard. And now you triumphed. I see you get a golden trophy. You won. And there's much applaud to you, because this is a hard game of life. This is very hard. Then you'll find yourself in the center of it, and it's going to feel like a maze. And it's going to feel like you're trying to walk away, or you're trying to hide, or you're in a lot of pain, but you're only illuminating more of who you are to yourself. And honestly, this card, this Princess of Cups is very, I feel like she's cherishing us. She's cherishing us. Like, I feel like when I'm in her presence, I feel like she makes me feel good about me. She just genuinely just does that. Don't know why we need that sometimes, but when we meet people that make us feel good about ourselves, they're like the Princess of Cups. And it just feels enriching, and it feels like you're glowing. And it's because you didn't have to celebrate you all by yourself behind closed doors. You could celebrate it with someone who could genuinely see you for you. It's like the eyes of Mother God love you and all that you are, as you are, and welcomes you into the bathhouse. And some of us can walk in there and just feel the understanding of it all, the meaning of it all, because something is already clean inside ourselves. So we didn't need all that extra water to clean ourselves, because we did all the work. We persevered. And that was the water that cleansed us. So that's the message, huh? It's nice. And I'm just reflecting here on how each card made me feel uniquely. Princess of Cups was the nicest energy. I feel that the King of Cups is more, maybe it's the process of transformation and how that can look from the outside. And we look at someone going through a process of transformation, how they will resist it even to the death, how they'll be reborn from it, and what the next level of themselves might look like might not be there yet. Might have a lot more of this maze to go. But still, that's an achievement too. It's like understanding and having respect for this process. And the process is a bit manipulative. And it's difficult. But it's important. It's like a dad talking to a son about the real world, and then having to teach the son through being a tough father. Because the real world is a tough, real world. Helps you through that maze to find yourself. And the Princess of Swords. I like the ending of that. Still a little mysterious looking back now. All I can say is that was really meaningful for me. So if you managed to watch this whole video, thank you. In a world of 3-minute attention spans, you are persevering. I think there's so much we can learn from pretty much anything in life. There's so much we can learn and appreciate from each other. So thank you for being a part of this experience with me. I hope you guys are having a great day. Hope you're having a nice September or whatever month you're in. I hope it's a good month for you. Thank you so much for watching. If any of you are interested in exploring a session with me, you can do so by visiting my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. I'm also on Patreon at patreon.com/abbeynormalswisdomquest. Bye for now.